Well, g'day fishos. Welcome to another Port Stephens weekly fishing report. And I must admit, the estuary of Port Stephens is absolutely on fire at the moment. There are so many big flatties around. In fact, it's probably one of the best years I've seen for big lizards. We've been getting sent photos every day of big lizards from 70 to 90 centimetres and obviously bigger as well. So at the moment, Port Stephens is on fire with big flathead, which is good to see. Everyone's letting those big girls go, which is good. They're breeders at this time of year, but it's absolutely fantastic. Maybe those floods earlier in the year around March certainly stirred the flatties up at the moment. So where would I head to go and catch a big dusky flathead? Well, the flats up towards Tenelba Bay, Oyster Cove, and also up Tillagary as well. There's been plenty of fish up there this week. Some really nice fish caught up the Tillagary. In behind the racks, started the run out tide. You should do pretty well there. Plastics have been the go. The new Berkeley shrimps have been really good. So too the 4.2 inch in the Daiwa bait junkie. So those big paddle tails are working really well on the flatties at the moment. Also give it a go up towards the Karua there, start of the Karua, and also over towards North Arm Cove there on the flats there. So flatties throughout the bay, and even in the starting to creep in the lower half of the bay there. So there's been some fish around Nelson Bay Beach. Little Beach, there's been some beauties down there, especially off the disabled wharf or the wheelchair wharf there. There's been some absolute crackers down in there at the moment, but early morning, late afternoon on the local spots. You also try Corlette as well, some good fish down there. So flatties are on the target list in the estuary at the moment. Still a few mulloway around. If you follow our Instagram page, Troy got a nice one on the Vibe this week. So did Harley. He's been doing really well. He's been doing the early morning raids. So some nice mulloway still around in the bay at the moment. Bream, a few nice bream around. They're starting to attack surface lures, which is good to see. So that water's warming. I suspect we're in for a pretty warm weekend, although Saturday being a southerly, Sunday will warm back up. Next week looks really hot. So the bream is starting to bite on the surface. Wouldn't be surprised if you see a few whiting on the surface lures as well. I spoke to Guy. He's been fishing down off Bagnalls Beach on the flats there and nailing a few good bream on the surface lures, and a couple of little flatties as well, smashing his surface lures. So there you go, some really good fish turning up in the bay. Talking of whiting as well, if you want to get some live worms, we've got a big load of beach worms in this week. Try Shoal Bay, Nelson Bay Beach, Corlette. Just fish the incoming tide. I reckon that last 2 hours, the incoming tide is doing really well. Speaking of Nelson Bay Beach, there's actually been a few salmon down there. So they've made their way into the base. There's been actually a few salmon down off Nelson Bay Beach there, harassing the bait. So if you get that high tide, be worth a spin. Only small lures around about that 10 gram size. Those armour anchovies definitely do the job down there. So interesting to see the salmon around. I would say they're off the break wheel as well. If you want to have a spin off the break, we probably get salmon and tailor, maybe the odd king off the break wheel as well. So fishing is red hot inside the port at the moment, so give it a crack. Now on the beaches at the moment, still plenty of bream around. The odd whiting, I wouldn't say they're prolific at the moment, but there has been the odd whiting on the beaches at the moment. Fingal's got some really nice formations, some good gutters on there as well. And then back down to Samurai and 1 Mile. Now with the nor'westers, I'd say it'll probably be Good Friday down there, and then we've got a southerly switch into Saturday, so yeah, it's going to be hard to find those protected corners. Probably the southern end of Wonny might be the best, but Sunday looking the better day for the beaches. Off the rocks, plenty of drummers still around. Obviously that water's still cool at the moment, so plenty of drummer around. There's been some kings around on some of the points as well, so if you're keen on throwing a few surface little stick baits, poppers and things, there has been a few kings around. Just got to work for them, but you will find them at the moment. And of course tailor and salmon. If you're into Ludrick fishing, then I'd head down to Cemetery Point down there at Barooby, fishing pretty well there at the moment. Now, plenty of reports of some nice snapper at the moment. Depends where you fished. To the north there, I know the Big Gibber was plenty of current pushing to the north. The water was filthy. Come back into the shallows of Broughton, you got some nice fish in there. But likewise further south there, down off Little Rocky, down to Boat Harbour, there's been some nice fish down that way as well. So those closer perimeters have been fishing pretty well. Even though we've been lifted, we can go 200 nautical miles. The fishing in close has been a little bit better as well. Some good kings around in the shallows at the moment. Again, on our Instagram page, we've seen that beauty, metre 30, so that's an absolute cracker of a kingy. They are in the shallows at this time of year, and when I mean shallow, you're looking at 10 to 15 metres of water, even shallow again. I've actually seen them in like 2 metres of water. Casting stick baits or live baits at them, you'll get a bite. good luck trying to land them. They are a hard fish to land, but well worth the chase, that's for sure. Now, the other big news is, yes, striped marlin caught on the shelf by the boys on Akuma. So they ventured out to the shelf there, caught a striped marlin, saw plenty of bait, and saw a couple of other fish as well. Spoke to Jamie and Shane. They fished the edge as well, looking for yellowfin. They actually got a bite out of a striped marlin, and they said there was plenty of bait out there. So if you can, Saturday looks like a write-off. Sunday looks, maybe 50-50 to head out there. But look, hey, it's only the beginning of the season, so early days yet, but it looks good. So bring on the marlins for season, that's for sure. Anyway, that's it for this week. Enjoy the report and get out there and get a fish.